Sup, you Eurovision fools? It's Matt, ESC United, your favorite Eurovision channel. Welcome to yet another episode of Mattitude, where we talk, you guessed it right, Eurovision, because that's just how it works. And we've had another very, very busy Super Saturday. So I just can't do it alone. And so I got to bring along my buddy Roy. How did you survive yesterday? How did you manage?
Honestly, quite well. Like a lot of the shows were like kind of one ended and then the next started, or like a lot of songs were like in between each other. So I had quite a lot of fun. Like there were a few that I didn't really focus on, but it was a fun night. A lot of decent decisions, but I mean we'll get into that later, I guess. But yeah, overall a fun night for me.
It was nice, actually, the way, because I mean, yeah, we still had a good amount of overlap. That's just how Super Say goes, but it felt a little bit more of a flow. We had like three shows. It started at, well, it's 11 my time, but like 8 o'clock Central European time. Then a couple of shows at 9, and then Portugal and some other shows at 10. So it was nicely spread out. So it was a whole lot more manageable to deal with it, actually. So that was nice. Nevertheless, it was stressful. It was busy, but we love all of that anyways, and that's why we're talking about this. So welcome everyone in the chat. I see Anita Folkman is there, Sino is there saying hi right back at you. Susana Esteves, hello. Fernanda Costa, Jazzer, everyone, thank you so much for joining. And in case you haven't done this a whole lot, of course we're going to talk about the national finals that have occurred over the past few days. First, just the facts, then our thoughts, and then, of course, at that point, would love to hear from you as well. And when you talk to us in the chat, very, very important, say at ESC United so we know it is addressed to us and we can then respond accordingly. And then otherwise, it may not catch our attention. So very, very important. Everyone, thank you so much for supporting ESC United as well on a regular basis. As always, if you like a video, that really helps us out a lot in the algorithm. And if you have not subscribed yet, please do so. That's always appreciated. And if you want to support us monetarily, you can always do a super chat in here or become a member by clicking on membership here on YouTube, Patreon, wherever it may be, to cover some of the many, many high costs that come with Eurovision. But if not, a like is always appreciated. So we got to talk about this, and it's already, I don't want to waste any more time with the little things. So let's jump right into the first topic.
Mm-hmm.
And that is, of course, dear to my heart because it is Germany. And on Friday, which is interesting because it seems the rest of Europe has shows on Saturday, but Germany's like, nah, we'll do it on Friday. We're gone on Saturdays. So they had their first national final. Well, not the first, but the first national final of the week, I should say, and picked their entry. And let's talk about this. Remembering it so. Okay, that was the wrong clip. But anyways, it's the same thing. Germany selected their song. And but of course, in the end, it was just the appearance of a very famous Eurovision winner. It was the moment of the night. But let me back up real quick. It was a close battle between Felicia Liu, then Male and Jonas, and then 24-year-old singer and rapper Malik Harris. Ultimately, it was Malik who was then declared the winner of Germany, 12 points. That means earning him the right to represent Germany at the Eurovision Song Contest 2022 with the song Rock Stars. And in case you're wondering how it worked, the winner was chosen by a public vote with Malik on the night, winning on the night of the vote, and then came second, apparently, in a vote that was an online voting starting 5 days prior to the show. So it's a little a different setup. They were not like juries in that sense. And of course, as you can imagine, Malik mentioned in our pre-interview with ESC United that he's super excited. He said about his song, it is a personal and vulnerable song. And I'm sure that there are a lot of people who can relate to the lyrics of the song, who can derive some of the support through it. And that has always been something I want to do with music. And as mentioned, of course, what people still talk about is, of course, the appearance of Jamala, who won for Ukraine in 2016, singing her song 1994, carrying the flag of the country throughout the performance. knowing what has been going on in Ukraine. And it's just a very strong symbolism because, Eurovision is supposed to be about unity and, coming together for a week, for a few nights, just to put everything else aside. So it was a very touching moment. Ultimately, as said, Malik won and it's going to go to Turin. Roy, let's talk this through. The German selection, as a dear neighbor from the Netherlands. I think you're legally required to say nice things. No, you can be honest, of course. What were your thoughts, first of all, about the national final selection? There have been a lot of chat and talk out there that this was a lackluster, underwhelming lineup. Do you agree, or do you think people were a little bit too harsh?
Yeah, I definitely do agree. I also get the idea that they want to go for radio friendliness. A friend of mine from Germany explained it to me like they really want their own entry to be played on radio so that people in the entire country can get behind it and actually know when Eurovision comes on, you know, what song is actually going to be performed, because that's been an issue the past couple of years. So I get the idea. The execution, though, I don't know. It were so many inoffensive songs that you were like struggling to really care for any of them. It didn't mean that all of them were bad. Like they were all okay. But that's where the issue is, because you kind of want to be either hated or loved by people. Because if you're okay, people are gonna listen to the song and see it on the Eurovision stage, and people be like, "Oh, that was nice." Then move on to, I don't know, some rock song or some very out there rap song or some whatever you could think about. And then people be like, "Whoa, what is this?" And then already completely forgot about the German song. And in that sense, I don't really understand the direction they took. But hey, I think out of all of these songs that they did make the right decision. Um, but yeah, I do think they really need to look at it again for next year and really reassess, is this really what we want to go for? Because yeah, it wasn't really my favorite selection, let's say it mildly.
Yeah, and MS London makes a good comment. Actually, radio friendliness and broad appeal doesn't has to be bland.
Yeah.
Look at the French song this year, for instance. So I will also say this is Germany's thing, certainly as of late. Because even when Germany really is, and they have been sucking big time at Eurovision over the last few years, putting 2018 aside, um, the thing is, even when they really suck, I hardly ever dislike their entries, right? It's almost like it's
Mm.
a fine song. Like, even I don't dislike 2015. I don't dislike 2017. I don't dislike 2019, but they're all just kind of more like, yeah, it's like my 30th place in the run. You know what I mean? It's just kind of just
Exactly.
there. And that is a dangerous place. And this mindset that the producer, the people in charge have about it has to be radio friendly, that is very, very subjective. Listen to
Yeah.
what's on the radio. There is no like this. Like, they think more about radio friendliness, what you listen to when you drive the car, or just more relaxing. The radio is all kinds of music, and this is to me just they have just have this concept of what radio friendly is constituted, and it just drives me nuts. So I have the same issues as you did, in terms of the song selection, and it seems as they never ever learn. And I've met people on the, and there seems to be always this undeserved confidence on the team every year with Eurovision. They're like, yeah, we've got this. And like,
Yeah.
have you paid attention to Eurovision, the results as of late? And it drives me nuts. So yeah, I was also very underwhelmed with the lineup. And the thing is, yes, there were not many songs that I like actively disliked. They were just all mostly okay. What's next? And that is not a good sign. And then ultimately, it became such a beige thing that I don't remember most of the songs actually.
Mhm.
Now you did say though, Roy, that with Malik that they did the right choice in terms of their options.
Remembering it so hard when time is moving so fast. Wish there was a way to know that.
It's certainly, you can say it stood out a little bit more than some of the others. So, do you think it is strong enough to escape? Oh gosh, this is like the bar for Germany, like 0 points from the televoters. You think there's some potential there? Where do you see this one at this point?
I definitely think that they can get a few points here or there. It won't be a big amount, I don't think so. But what I really liked is that he was quite spot on. Like it could have literally been the studio version being played, because he was just really good live vocally, and I didn't expect that because it's kind of more, rappy, I guess. And I didn't expect that to do well because usually that kind of falls very flat on stage. But he performed it very well, and with a proper direction of staging, which Germany hasn't been that good at lately. So they could definitely scrape like a few points here and there, and hopefully not get 0 points again, because that's probably the main goal now.
Yeah, again, the bar.
Mm.
Yeah, I will say, I mean, it was interesting because it was the first song of the night, if I'm not mistaken. That's usually like, okay, that one's not going to go anywhere. Yet it ended up, because it is true that the song itself is probably out of all the ones the best one performed live. And if you watch the show, those, again, the bar is ridiculously low. There were people who just stopped singing throughout the performance because they forgot the lyrics or they got lost. It was so amateurish at some point. It was cringe. And he was the most professional one, I would almost say, and the most slick performance. Um, so I understand why people gravitate towards that one. But just based on its own merit, how do you feel about the song, Roy?
I mean, taking it out of like the entire selection, just keep putting it all behind me, I would definitely listen to it when it comes on shuffle. And that's like, I guess, radio friendliness of the song. But with
Hmm.
radio music, it's always like you kind of want to have it in the background, and for Eurovision, you want to be on the foreground because people need to vote for you, and
Yes.
I'm not sure if that will happen. But on its own, it is not my last place. It's like in the middle somewhere, but like I wouldn't
Still
vote for
not
it
where you want to
either.
be, you know?
Exactly.
Because I think a lot of people will have it in a similar position in their ranking in the middle. Me personally, nothing against Malik. He seems like a very likable and nice guy. And so it's just the song is a little bit grating to my ears, especially it's hardly rap. It almost gives me a little bit of an Eminem inspired feel, but
Hmm.
it becomes too shouty and aggressive. And I understand that this is the intent there, but it is very like uncomfortable, off putting to me, that part. And I just like, I can't, I just want to back off a little. And melodically, it's just too it just I don't get emotionally attached to it at all. Even though I will say lyrically the content is pretty good. I think it's a well-written song, but I just don't emotionally connect with it at all, unfortunately. And I saw people in the chat already talk, just pretend you're not German anymore. And like, of course not. I mean, just because I'm not crazy about the German song for how many years now? Actually, that's not true. I loved actually Jendrik last year. It happens, and you cannot like it all the time. It is just more about tough love for me when it comes to Germany. It's just like, get your act together. You have
Hmm.
high quality artists and high quality music. If this is the best you can come up with, change the people in charge. But I feel like I've seen this movie before. We talk about this every single year, and guess what they're going to do next year? The exact same thing.
Yeah.
They don't take criticism well, and they just ignore it and move on. And that is this thing, especially. I mean, the whole thing was about Eskimo Callboy, the big band that really wanted to go to Eurovision. It is immensely popular, and people were pushing for them hard. Um, even putting them aside, I do think that because they kind of brushed that off, they tried to brush it off, but they couldn't because the outrage was just so high. Do you think that Eskimo Callboy would have been a better option, or is it just like the fans being too stuck on one act at this point?
I mean, I would say 100%. They just really make metalcore super accessible because metalcore is a very like in your face genre. I mean, I love metalcore, but I totally get that people will be like, "Whoa, what the hell is this?" But they just make it danceable. They make it fun. I don't think that the song necessarily was perhaps their best shot at like going for Eurovision, but I definitely think it would have been better than what they have right now. The guys are amazingly at entertaining the crowd. I'm not sure how it would work on the television cameras, but I think it would have been a better choice because at least people will either love or hate it, and you want the love people to vote for your song. So I definitely think it would have gotten a higher position than what they have now, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
But I also get what you mean, that a lot of the fans from Eskimo Callboy were the loudest, and like they don't know what Eurovision is, they don't know what national selections are, so like they start to harass some of the other artists, and you always have those
Yeah.
weak links, I guess, in any fandom. But it's sad to see those kind of things. But yeah, it's unfortunate that they like have to hear like, oh yeah, you're not radio friendly enough, so like what you're doing is not good enough for us to put you on the radio, which must be very demotivating, and it doesn't really help other bands, well, good English, to try to apply in the future, because they're not the only metal or rock bands that could apply to a national selection. And now that they have been rejected because they're not good enough for Eurovision, I wouldn't be
It's
a
not
rock
radio
band.
friendly enough.
Exactly. I wouldn't be a rock band and be like, yo, I'm going to submit now because, yeah, I totally have a shot at winning this. So they're just shooting themselves in the foot for like 2 years, perhaps, by just putting out that statement.
Yep, I think so too. It was very badly managed, this whole situation. And I will say, yes, I kind of enjoyed that one song of Eskimo Callboy, and I didn't know them until this whole thing happened. I'm like, it's fun. It would certainly stand out, would be more polarizing, but at least would have been a little bit more of a conversation. But even besides Eskimo Callboy, it is put them aside because it's just one band that got a lot of hype and a lot of attention. I just don't believe that this is the most exciting music that they had in the running, that this is all they can do. And they need to do some soul searching. And I'm just so, I wouldn't say deflated, but so pessimistic about it because they just don't listen. So, and the thing is, usually they have to rely Germany on the other big 4 or 5 to kind of suck in their selection as well. But Spain, France, Italy, they certainly are delivering. So Germany once again has to rely and hope for Ukraine to suck as well, to have like somebody not to be at the bottom again, because that's the problem. If you are a direct qualifier, right, you have that privilege, and the other 10 songs from each semi, they already proven themselves to have a support, right? A base of support. So it's more likely that they will get some push in the finals as well. The big 4 or 5, they don't have to go through that. So they have to raise the bar when it comes to selection. And that is why Germany is in big, big trouble, in my view, escaping the last place at this point. Unless it's really a situation where what we have like in 2013 with Ireland, although the point system was different back then, but where it comes like it's a few points here and a few points there, but then combined it's still below, that kind of stuff. That is, I'm thinking, potentially the best outcome for Germany right now. Any questions about Germany in the chat at ESC United real quick so we can address them? I think the German song is at least an upgrade from the past 2 years, not counting 2020. So 2019 and 21. Let's talk about this, Roy. Do you think compared to last year's entry or even the sisters, is this an upgrade or is it just kind of like the same?
I definitely think compared to last year, you could say it's an upgrade. I personally really enjoyed Sisters, but they completely butchered that staging. Like they just decided, oh, we have a spinny platform, but let's not even take it to the stage and just do
Sister!
anything.
That's all I remember.
Yeah, I know it's a bit weird, and I somehow just kind of enjoyed a little bit. But yeah, I definitely think that it has a bit more potential than those two, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
To me personally, and this is 100% personal taste, of course, I preferred the other two. I mean, I enjoyed Jendrik's song, even though the staging and the other became too amateurish. They should have done a whole lot better there. Sisters to me was, again, fine. It was somewhere in the second half of my ranking probably, but not at the bottom. This one, it's grating to my ears, a lot of things. So I personally prefer the other two efforts. This is probably one of my least favorite German entries in quite some time. But that comes down to personal taste. And in terms of chances, I'm still worried about it just for the fact that the other big direct qualifiers are delivering and Germany did not. So that is unfortunate. So yes, that is, we'll see with the lineup in the end. I know that they're dropping in the betting odds, but the betting odds have been wrong before in the past, so don't think
Germany
about it.
for the win.
Germany for the win. Munich 23.
Yes.
right? I had to think of the city there, but I want to go back to Munich. I love the south there. But of course, I'd rather have it in Hamburg because it's closer to my family. So yes, Hamburg it is. Okay. And so that is Germany, and of course that was just on Friday, and we had a lot of other shows in between as we talked since then. Let's talk about La France. And they almost won it last year, right? They were not that far away, but last night, France once again had a national final from the France Television studio. And the show, again, hosted by Stéphane Bern and Laurence Boccolini. They hosted the 21 edition. There were 12 songs in the running. And in case you didn't watch the whole show, basically those who it's a multi-tier process. I'm not going to all the select the winner and the Eurovision artist. First, the artist performed their song, then received feedback from the juries, right? And then they had a like. That each jury member had an option to like an entry, and it showed up on the screen how many likes they would get. Although this did not, it had no impact on the actual results, at least like the score. Maybe it had some influence on how people voted, but it didn't have actually the points itself. It did not matter. And then we had a first round of voting, just a televote, and they picked 5 songs to go into the super final. And those were Marius, Alvan, and Ahez, Elliot, Pauline Chanier, and Soa. And then the 7 remaining acts had another vote where the 10-member panel picked 1 additional song, which was Cyprian Sani. He won the jury vote, so we had a total of 6 songs in the super final. And then in the super final, first each jury member voted, gave their points, and then at the very end, they added the televote. But after the televotes came in, nothing changed really in terms of the leader. The winner stayed the same, and it was Alban and Ahe. And they will go to Eurovision, and that is going to be a big honor, of course, for the band. And we have probably a lot of thoughts about it. I cannot wait to talk this through. I'm gonna give it right back to you, Roy. I mean, did you watch the whole show? Or you just watched the highlights?
Oh no! I watched the entire show. I did miss like the start of it, but I watched all of the songs perform at least. Because like in the beginning, I was also watching a TV show that I couldn't miss really on the Dutch TV. So I had like 4 screens on my laptop, and on my big TV, I had like the show, and then I changed it to France 2 because I can have that on my television. But yeah, I watched the entire show, and it was really enjoyable. I thought the process was really interesting, but I had the same last year.
Close at least, because they had less super finalists, but other than that, it was the same. Yes.
No, I think they had exactly the same amount of.
No, I think they had. I'm pretty sure now. Now you make. I thought they had like only like 4 songs eliminated or something like that. I thought.
Yeah, but then that should be more super finalists, right?
I thought so. I could be wrong. Anyway, go ahead.
Yeah,
I make question myself.
I basically had the same feeling as last year. As soon as I saw Fulan being performed, I knew, this is gonna win. Just like I had last year with Voila, I was like, yeah, this should be the song for them. They should win. And ultimately, both juries and televote like agreed on the winner. So I think they made a really good decision. I think it's really a unique song. I don't think any of these songs were potential Eurovision winners. So I think it is really good to go for some representation of some area. In France, it's cool to have the Breton language back again. Like the last time was 1995 or something like that. So it is really cool to have that in Eurovision, and it must feel like people must feel very proud from that region to be represented in Eurovision by France. So yeah, I really agree with the winner, and couldn't be happier, really.
Yes. Please, people, watch my reaction video I posted not that long ago, and I knew immediately that this was my favorite. Like, I think it was the first song I listened to, even in the order, because I think alphabetically. And I was like, this will be hard to beat as my favorite. And sure enough, it won. I've had a really bad run this year in terms of like my favorites. As a matter of fact, there are probably like a handful of national finals, but my least favorites won the national finals. And so it was just refreshing to see this one. The juries gave it standing ovations, which already was a good indicator. Okay, they're going to do really well with them. And they got, I think, 9 likes right away. And so I knew, okay, this is a contender, obviously. So I was very relieved. I thought that they came into this very well prepared as well. The staging looked already really, really good. I will say there needs to be some camera work that was a little off, but that is so easily fixable at Eurovision because you really work with the best of the best there. So I'm not even too worried about that part, but that needs to be a little fixing. But I like the energy. I like the idea. I love the feel about it. It just, it was so good. It was so good. And I think, as you said, it's nice to have like a local sound, or at least language, I should say, in the running. It's been a minute, and I'm not going to go saying certainly it's going to win, but I think it's going to do really, really well because it's a kind of almost niche sound that has a broader appeal. I think people will really gravitate towards that one. It brings like this local sound that is still universally accessible. And I'll bring almost like Ukraine often does that really well, right? And I think France nailed it this year around as well. So I am stoked. And France, the giant, has they're back in this game like nobody's business, when they were just kind of more like just like la la la, kind of going for Eurovision for like God knows how long. It's just refreshing to see that kind of excitement. And yes, this is a fantastic song. I love everything about it. It is. I don't even have the words for it. I'm absolutely in love with this one. Are you worried that this song could potentially get destroyed by international juries, or you think they actually, just like the local juries here in France, they will show some appreciation for it?
I don't know. I felt like last year we had the same thing with Shum, for example, where we were like, "Oh, are people gonna love this if you're not from Ukraine?" Because it's very like folky influence. But it's just a very nicely produced beat, and when you just see him rock it out, and you just see them singing it with so much passion, I think that really comes across universally. Um, yeah, I think that they might do a little less good in the juries compared to the televote. Like, I think the televote will definitely give them more points than a jury does. Um, but I don't think they would completely tank it. I definitely think that they will get a decent result with this song. And
Yeah.
I should also say I was wrong with the year. It was 96 and not 95. The person in the chat pointed it out. Sorry for that, but hey.
Oh guys, fake news.
I'm sorry.
That is okay. Yeah, I didn't remember top of my head what year it was either, but I know it was like mid-90s. So no, and I agree with you. I know we're gonna make the comparison to Shum because it's not sound-wise the same, but it just has more like a local sound to it. And Shum didn't do quite as well at the Juries. It didn't completely tank, but considering they got a great second place with the televoters and only 5th overall, the Juries certainly brought it down a little. I could see something happening here with France in a similar fashion, but I do think actually this has a pretty good chance on doing a little better with the juries as well. You never know, you never know, but I do think they have a really, really good shot at this. In terms of the lineup, was there another song you thought that is great, this is overlooked, or what were your other favorites in the French lineup?
Going into it, my 2 favorites on the studio version were Telephone, because it was like the deep house song, but I knew that would probably not work live because it's really tough to pull that kind of song off live. But it was super mellow, very nice to listen to, and I also really like Madame, which also didn't make it to the final 6. Was a bit surprised by that, to be honest, but the others were also really good that made it to the top 6. Those are really my 2 standout favorites going into it, and I think Fulen was like my 3rd or 4th. From the top 6, I really liked Nuit Pauline, which might surprise you, but I really quite enjoyed that song. Yeah, those are really my favorites, but I definitely think like Fulen really just stepped it up quite a notch and like was definitely leapfrogging the rest for me.
Yeah, so I will say think that the top 6 chosen were probably France got it right. I think those were the songs that really, for the most part, actually, there's maybe one I may not quite agree with. But other than that, I thought it was a great selection. Out of the ones disqualified immediately, I know that wouldn't work for most people. I had a soft spot for Joanne's Madame, but I get why this is a little bit too old-fashioned.
Yeah.
I totally understand it, but I really enjoyed it. But in terms of the super finalists, even though Alvan has head and shoulders above the rest to me, my second favorite is also Pauline. I knew it, Pauline. I love it. I love it. This is going to be my playlist for a very long time, and I hope it's going to chart in France because it's such it's like 80s retro nostalgic sound to it, but it still kind of works now, and it just has so much personality. And you didn't think, I was like, oh, people are not going to like this one, right? It's just a mad song. And then all of a sudden it comes second in the televote and second overall, right? Yes. So absolutely deserved. I am so happy. France and I agree a lot in terms of music taste. So I love Pauline, and I can't get enough of it. Now, some people in the chat also brought up, so that was one of the fan favorites here within the Eurovision bubble. Do you think, I mean, they got a third place, which is still fantastic. I think this sounds about right to me. Do you think that should have been higher, or you didn't quite get the hype on this one?
Yeah, I got it that people really liked it, but to me it felt a bit like a song that belonged more between like 2014 and 2017 ish. Like then it would have been perfectly suited for Eurovision. I think now it was a bit too dated, is maybe a bit too harsh of a word, or maybe too junior-y perhaps. I didn't fully buy into the hype, but they performed it really, really well, and I definitely think they deserve like at least a top four finish. Like they performed insanely well, and like with Nui Pauline and Soa coming second and third, it really shows to the French artists like, yo, you can send in a very diverse song next year and do well with it, and that is so awesome because we might have a super diverse selection again next year, and that's what I'm all about, really. So
I love,
yeah,
yeah.
excited.
I love what you just said because you absolutely nailed it. I think it just shows how diverse the lineup was. It's even this, just look at the super finalists overall, right? You have the Fulham, then you have Soa, but then you have this very old-fashioned French ballad by Elliot, not Elliot, I'm sorry, Marius, I mean. And it just really just has this diversity. Like any song, if it comes together well, can do well. So I think France is on the right track, and I know that France is going to do well this year. Top 10. I mean, I would be shocked if they're not going to be in the top 10 in Turin. And just keep what you're doing. Even if you have like an off year, that'll always happen. Sweden has off years. You know what I mean? So don't let that discourage you. You're on the right track. So I'm very, very happy with France. Any questions about France in the chat at ESC United? I would love for the this to inspire the UK to send songs in Welsh or Scottish Gaelic. Do you think that would be something that the UK should explore?
I mean, it would have been cool at least for like one try, or I don't know.
Can't go any lower, right?
Exactly. Like they have to try something. I wouldn't be mad if they sent something like that, and I don't think a lot of people would be mad about it either. Like it's cool to have some diversity. We're all for diversity, I guess. I just want to listen to as much genres and as much different type of music as possible at Eurovision. So keep them coming. Do it.
Yep. I agree. I think last year in particular, the results were so amazing because I know I sound like a broken record, but 4 out of the top 5 songs were not in English. So you can do really well at the contest if your song is good. Don't listen to the whole, well, you need to English in order to do well. And that is not for me to saying you shouldn't sing in English at all, because, you know, I believe in artistic freedom. So whatever you feel more comfortable with, sing that. But the thought process of you have to, I don't barely speak the language, but I have to sing in it in order to do well. I think throw that out of the window and never think about it again. It couldn't be further from the truth. And that is the most exciting part for me. Vaco is actually saying, I hated Nui Pauline, and then I joined the hype train. The live performance was amazing. She's visually striking. I mean, I love the song from the get-go, but I also listen and I'm like, well, people are not going to get this one. I saw it in like some rankings, like at the bottom, but it's just the way she performed. She demanded your attention, and it was just like, wow, I thought she just did it. It was visually just so striking, as you said. So I'm absolutely interested. Thomas is asking you, Roy, could Fulham end up in your final top 10? I mean, it's a little too early, but do you think it's a contender potentially?
They are currently. So yeah, perhaps if the rest don't deliver, then they will definitely remain there. But usually my top quite changes from when we have all the songs to when we get to Eurovision, because you get to really listen to the songs, because now you just, for me, I listen to the song when they win, and then just don't listen to it until we get to the point where we have all the songs. Then I start to really listen to all of the songs and really make up my mind. I definitely think Fulan could end up being there, but it just really depends on how the next few like weeks or months even will be for me. But yeah, they definitely have a shot at it.
Yeah. Couple more questions here. Do you think the staging needs to be changed in any way? MS London is asking. I said earlier, and I still stick to that. I like most about it. I like how the singers didn't then just relocate on the stage and all of that stuff, and they stand together and create such a contrast with the guy who goes all crazy and they're all serious, right? They're just like. Da, 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 da. I love that. I love it, and I love the staging with the ramps and all that stuff and the smoke. All I will say is camera work needs a lot of fixing. I think it would be much cooler that you don't even see the girls moving. You just see them. Oh,
Yes. And this is the moment where Matt's internet cuts out. So now I'm the only one.
hello. Are you still there?
He's
I'm back. Yes, I'm having
still here,
internet issues in my new place, so forgive me. But the last thing, that's the point I was trying to say is camera work, camera work, camera work. That is what needs a lot of fixing. I don't know what the last thing you heard, but I said, have like when as the girls walking around front of stage, just don't even see them walking around, just have the shot like, oh no, they're right there. Could be such a cool, intense moment. So that is what I would fix in terms of staging. What do you think?
Yeah, I definitely think you nail it. I really enjoyed what they already did, and they can really amplify that. We now know the staging design of what it will be like in Turin with like the higher platform, and you have like the waterfall coming, and you have like a little ramp going down. They could perfectly use that for their live performance in Turin, and the most fixable thing was really the camera angles. I thought that they were a bit off sometimes and they felt a little bit amateurish at some points. So they really need to work on that a little bit. But overall, I think the direction was really good. They just need to iron it all out and just make sure the camera angles are on point. And I think they're pretty much good to go with that.
Yep, I think so as well. Eurofan SF is asking, do you think Marius was too like Barbara last year and hurt him, especially in staging? Because his vocals were great. Do you think that was ultimately, do you feel it was too close to Barbara, or just that's not it? What do you think, Roy?
No, I mean, I get that you think that, but I think that this song was just a bit more simple than what Barbara did instrumentally. He was great vocally, but for me there was a lot of instrumentals missing because they could have done a way better job at enhancing his pretty voice and really making sure that the emotions came across better. Because now it was just a piano ballad and he sang to it. He sang to it really greatly. But they could have done so much more to really enhance the song. So I get perhaps what you're saying because the staging was a little bit similar, but a ballad will always be kind of staged in that way, I guess.
What can you do, right? You're supposed to have a hamster wheel. It's
just headbang all the way. Yeah.
voila, voila,
voila, voila.
Yeah. So no, I agree. I mean, the thing that these two songs have in common is what we perceive as a French ballad chanson kind of song, and I think that's the extent of it. I think Voila was just a whole lot more alive and visually more stunning and had a lot more varieties in the song. Marius sang it well. He was very intense, his facial expressions. I think he should have probably lit up a little more. I just think melodically, it is just a little bit more on the heavy side and even more old-fashioned, I guess. I think Voila was a little bit more accessible to a lot of people, and I feel the same way. And this is not to diss the song, because Marius, I actually really liked that song as well. But it was just not quite at the same level, I think, that Barbara's song was. So that is definitely how I interpret it. So that is our thoughts. So congratulations, friends. Let's move on, though, because we have more national finals. And Serbia has finally found their Pesmarsa Eurovision. That's how I pronounce it. Yes, in case you don't know what that's supposed to mean, basically it means song for Eurovision. Mm-hmm. But after 3 long straight nights, actually, of 2 semifinals with 18 participants, and each semifinal and the grand final with 9 best acts from each semifinal, and now 3 nights in a row, we have a winner. And I will go for that. The final outcome, by the way, would be decided by between the juries and the televote, each having 50% say of the outcome. Now, without going into too many details, both the jury and televote overall pretty much agreed on the final outcome. There were lots and lots, like they had the exact same top three. And ultimately, we have a winner, but that shouldn't come as a surprise. You always have to have a winner. But it is Constructa, and she will represent Serbia at Eurovision with the song In Corpore Sano. And let's talk about this, Roy. This was a very interesting show. I could say, whatever you may think about the song, an interesting choice, huh? And I know you being like often like with the less expected taste, I guess, mainstream taste. I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Well, firstly, I really need to have a bit more time with this song, but I can 100% see this being a massive grower for me. I didn't watch the live show, but I looked back a recap, and this song just really stood out among the rest. Like, you knew that this was gonna win just like from the recap. Like, I didn't watch the full show, so maybe I'm not fully on point with that. Um, it is so intriguing, like just the way she performs it, just like she doesn't fully care, but she also like I don't know. Have you read into the message of the song? Because that is really quite
Yes, so
cool and
I
interesting
posted
to
my
look at.
reaction video like last night actually, and I didn't know anything about it, and all I heard was always like, is she singing Bratislava? That's the wrong country. Bratislava. And like, why is she washing her hands? So I got all these comments explaining it to me. So, but do you want to give a quick breakdown if you know what it means?
Yeah, so basically, artists apparently in Serbia don't have health insurance. So she's basically comparing herself to, or like she's talking about the hair of Meghan Markle, why it is so pretty, because she was to sit the entire time, and like there's health insurance there, and then it's like a lot of cool ways to just talk about a very serious issue while not necessarily coming across as a song that is conveying a very serious issue. And apparently, she lost a person dear to her to leukemia because of the system. So it is a very personal song as well. And I don't know, I think it's just very well delivered with washing the hands and just like the way she's talking about it as if the government doesn't care about them. And I don't know. There's a lot of layers to unpack, and I'm still not done unpacking all of them. So I really need to give this one quite a lot of time before I can give my final judgment. But luckily, I have some time with that, I guess.
Yes, and I will say this, and a lot of people in the comment section on my reaction video kind of echoed that. They're saying we don't care where the song ends up, we just love it to death. They feel very strongly about the message and the artist and the story behind it. I see in Serbia being very always excited about the entry, right, and very proud, but this is on a new level. It's very fascinating to watch, and it's a wonderful thing to see that actually. And even though the problem I see, I actually quite enjoyed the song. It just took me off guard a little because as a non-Serbian speaker, the message isn't necessarily come across to us because all we see is her washing her hands for 3 minutes and then clapping. The melody itself is not very like dramatic, right? It's more like da, da, da. She's almost like semi-talking in some parts, so it's not like very big vocal ranges and all of that stuff. So it doesn't have like the hook or the moments that for us non-speakers to get it. But I do think this will be polarizing and it'll have a good amount of support. I just appreciate it for being so out there because no matter what you think about the song, this will be like, oh, that's the hand washing lady, remember? And yes, maybe to Serbians that feels a little awkward. Like, that's not what the song is about, but you need to remember you are delivering it to an international audience and they will not necessarily get it. It's very interesting to me to hear that about, artists don't have health insurance coming from some in America where health insurance is not guaranteed for everyone anyway. Here, I'm like, yeah, that's just kind of like, isn't that normal? But, in Europe, it's like your point. No, but I get it because in Europe, obviously, you have everyone has health insurance. I wish that would be here the same way. So that was like, oh, yeah, that's right. But no, I do find it very, very interesting. The whole concept of the song. I'm just so stoked that Serbians are so excited about it. And that is half of the rent. And something like, screw the results. If you're so excited and behind it, that is the most important thing.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah, and also like a lot of people have also said like, oh, people won't know what the message is going to be about. But there's countries out there that have like translated lyrics on the screen while the Eurovision performance is happening, and you have like commentators could say before a song what the message of the song is going to be about, because that is usually what happens in the Netherlands, for example. So there is a lot of ways that the message will still come across, and like you said, it will just be really intriguing. And her performance and just what she did on the stage is going to be very memorable for people. And yeah, they might just sneak through to have a decent result. Who knows? But being proud of your country, that is the most important thing about Eurovision, because it is all about putting your culture out there and just see if people love it. Like, people hated Georgia last year and nobody cared for it, and I loved it. But I am that one person that you might be like, oh, whoa, there's a new person who likes our culture and our music, and that is cool. And sometimes that's just what you want. You don't always want to win Eurovision, and that's cool. That's perfectly fine.
Exactly. And that is the right approach. And I have to admit, I didn't have time to listen to the Serbian songs. Did you listen to any of the other songs, Roy? Did you have another one that stood out to you? I know that the second place, Sarah Joe, was like another fan favorite.
Yeah, I think that was realistically the only one that would have also been a good choice. I think the other ones were just a bit too much of the same sound in the same selection, so it doesn't really stand out enough to win the selection. Sarajevo was definitely an interesting act. I really looked up the full performance as well. But I would still pick this song over that one, just because it is so unique. And yeah, I think Serbians can be really proud.
Yes, and that's what matters. And any questions about Serbia in the chat at ESC United, we'll do our best to answer them. Do you think that, as of right now, we don't know all of the songs, but we know a good chunk by now. What do you think, as of right now, Serbia's chances are to qualify from the second semifinal? I'm looking at their friendly votes, first of all. They have Montenegro and North Macedonia. Right? So, but the song on itself, do you think they are safe qualifier, a potential qualifier, or they're going to struggle? Where do you fall as of right now?
Literally, this could go anywhere from winning the semi to being dead last in the semi, and I wouldn't be surprised with any of the results, really. Like, this is a complete oddball, and I wouldn't be able to predict right now where it would end up. Maybe when we see all of them with the performances on Eurovision stage, but right now, no clue.
Yeah. I'm on the fence here. I'm still worried about the whole, will this translate to the Eurovision stage or to the international audience? I'm a little worried that this could be the song that people just don't get it, which would be unfortunate because Serbians feel so strong about it and the message is there, and it may get lost in translation, for the lack of a better word. So I am not quite as confident yet. But as you said, it could also be the wildcard factor that no one see coming, like people click with it. And that sometimes happening. Do you see, HCB is asking, do you see Serbia getting many points from Western European countries? Do you think that this could be the biggest struggle, that this song may not translate well to like more the non-ex-Yugo, like Eastern European world, and for us people in the West will kind of struggle with this one?
Yeah, I think this is more the song that would just have to scrape points here and there in general. Like, I don't think any of them will really give them big points in the West. But I could also see some people like, okay, cool, I'm gonna vote for this because this is like so different. And it is such a difficult song to predict. Like, for example, I compared it in my video to what we have in Estonia sometimes with like Temple or which was in the national final a few years back. They have like these odd songs that are really just quirky, and just some people will really, really love it, and those people will vote for it. And that may result in like 2 televote points or 3 televote points. That could ultimately be just enough to pass through. Would I bank on it? No, but I could see them like scraping all the points, really.
Yeah. Probably one of the biggest wild cards at this point, could go all the way up or down, I guess. So we shall see. But nevertheless, very happy for Serbia, because regardless of the outcome, the country seems to be behind the entry, and that is half the rent in my book anyways. Let's move on to the next, because we got a few more shows here. Let's talk about Denmark, because the Danish public has spoken. They decided, because the show in Denmark, Dansk Melodi Grand Prix, was 100% televote, I believe. And we have now the answer. Ready will represent Denmark in Turin with the song The Show. It's a Danish rock group, and it's a female team band behind it. And the show opened with a performance of Denmark's 21 amazing act, Fyr og Flamme, and the last year's representatives. And then they warmed up the audience, and then 8 finalists took the stage, competing at Dance Melody Grand Prix, and one by one. And after the results, but then at first they all got to vote, the televoters, and then at that point 3 entries would then move on to the actual super final, and those 3 acts were Ready, The Show, Confessions, Hallelujah, and then Josie and Jack with Let Me Go. Now the whole voting system was quite confusing, but basically they voted, but then first the 3 acts performed again, and then with 30% of the public vote, Ready wins the show with The Show. And yes, Confessions placed second with 32% of the vote, and then Josie and Jack close behind 31. So as you can hear, this was not a landslide win. Just like last year, it was very, very close. So let's talk about this. I know, Roy, that Denmark has this reputation of sending like songs that the Eurovision bubble doesn't often get behind, and then they do so much better at the contest, and they're all like, "What? Where do you fall right now? What do you think?"
I love this entry.
Really?
It is.
I didn't see that coming.
It is my current 4th place, and I just really love songs where they start with a ballad and then they just, instead of your normal emotional, let's go to the high notes and let's make it super emotional. I love it when they just completely rock it out and just like express their emotions in that way, because usually I am the type of person who also likes to express my emotions in rock music or in louder music, and so I resonate with that way more. I do think that maybe they should like either change the little bit of the start, or shorten it a little bit. But it is such a great song. Like the transition when she says "ready for the show," like you get like a very slow fade out, and you go into a camera shot towards the drummer who like does the tick tick tick, and then you go full out rocky. Oh, I love it. It's so fun. Like after that, you just completely let's go, and I don't know. I just really like it. And
I didn't think like sometimes it's hard to predict your taste as well. Sometimes I get it completely, and then sometimes like, no, you threw me a curveball there. But here's the thing. I know I'm looking at some of the fan reactions online already. It's kind of like the similar reaction that Denmark gets every single year, right? They're like, oh, this is going to struggle to qualify. This is boring. It's so Danish. And then once again, then they end up on the left side of the scoreboard, So they do that all the time, or do much better, at least, than people think. And yes, last year they didn't qualify, but they still did really, really well with the televoters. So it's just the jury said tanked it. So there always seems to be a good amount of televote or jury support that they somehow grab. And I am almost certain, I feel very confident that it'll happen again this year as well. I just know that this will be it just stands out. And that's why you said, just the curveball that they throw you with the ballad and then go into this rock, even though it's like a little retro rock sound, it'll certainly stand out. But it still has a catchy melody. The chorus is catchy, and it just has this thing that people like, and that's what people often see, this music that Denmark sends. And yes, we don't like every song every single year, but there seems to be some, whether it's the melody or the comfort level that the song brings, they do well. Some of them are radio friendly, but I think unlike what Germany has done, there is at least a melody there or something a little bit more memorable. And that is where Denmark thrives. I think Ready has that, the show has that. I think it has a lot of really cool moments. And after watching all 8 performances, I was like, well, this clearly has to win for Denmark to get the best result. And I'm telling you, Denmark is going to go. I feel so confident right now making a prediction that they will go easily through to the finals, or at least will go through. There is a market for that sound out there, and I actually quite like it as well. Some sound issues I thought during the performance, but that again can be fixed as well. I'm not too worried about that. It's Eurovision. And Do you think there should be some other fixing going on, staging wise, sound, or you think what they're doing right now is kind of already good?
Yeah, I think that they could have like maybe a bit of a better way of dressing the drum kit and like having a bit more vibrant colors because it was all a bit like I don't know semi colorful I guess. Um, I don't know. There's like things that they can definitely work on, and especially camera angles as well. But that will all be fixed for Eurovision. There's a long time to really sit together and be like, "Yo, this is what we're gonna do for the staging." And like for example, last year with Måneskin, they had a really good performance in Sanremo, yet they completely changed it for Eurovision, and it worked probably maybe even better. I mean, I still prefer with orchestra, but like that's not allowed in Eurovision, so we
Yeah.
can't have that.
We can talk about that for like 3 hours here.
Well, they had
But
that in Denmark as well, which was quite cool.
that's why the sound wasn't certain because because it
Yeah.
was sometimes too loud a little. But anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
Exactly. And yeah, I'm completely with you on this one. Like, I think that I'm quite comfortable in saying that this is a really good shot at qualifying. And I would maybe even put money on it right now. Like, no advice to anyone watching. Like, don't take this as advice and don't do it and then blame me. Don't do that. But yeah, I'm really confident that this could do really well and will qualify to the final. It's really good. Just
Talking
forget
about
the
the
entire show and yeah.
No, go ahead. Sorry.
No, just forget about all of the other songs in the show. It's so difficult because like the song is called The Show as well. Um, but a lot of the people will just keep the selection procedure in their mind because it was rather underwhelming, I would say.
Mhm.
And a lot of people will keep that in their mind. And you right now just need to forget about that and just think, oh, this is the only song that ever existed. And that's how we need to move forward.
Yeah. I find it funny because that's what you hear all the time. All these songs. No, that songs are going to qualify. Some people, some songs have to qualify. There seems to be a lot of negativity. Well, we always have it every year. Somebody doesn't like the song that equals to it's not going to qualify.
Yeah.
It's always a very interesting approach. What about the other two super finals? Do you think the other twos were a good thing that they didn't go through, or could have Hallelujah or Let Me Go done okay at Eurovision as well?
Let Me Go, it could have done okay. It's a bit basic though. So I would not go for that. And I think the Hallelujah one was really helped by the massive choir on the stage, which is completely impossible to do at Eurovision. So yeah, that one didn't really click with me in the live performance. I really think that this was the only choice for Denmark, and I know there's another song that
we'll go into in a
love
moment.
so
Everyone
much.
wants to talk about, but I agree. I mean, I loved "Let Me Go." It was probably my favorite. I think it could have been similar to like "Love Is Forever," and people don't. I know people forgot about that song, but I think it has that comfort, like sweet sound that people just really, really like. And I think I get Lady A vibes all the time from that song, and there is a market for that. So I would have loved it, but I understand in terms of like odds at Eurovision, they probably made the right choice. I agree with Hallelujah as well. I think the song, even though I don't like it at all, right? It was like, ooh, I don't get it. I understand why it did so well with the choir and the gospel-y, which they cannot do at Eurovision. I do think that this song, Hallelujah, probably could have done really well with the juries at Eurovision, but I still think it would have flopped with the televoters. So I think that out of those, Denmark made the right choice. And then the other eliminated acts, the five, the one that everyone was talking about, apparently, which I found out the hard way, was Full Effect. Roy, did you think this rave song deserved more? Is that justice, or I hear you
It
giggle?
totally didn't work for the live performance, but I love it so much. Yeah, it just as well because of the orchestra was there, it just really didn't work. And I expected that fully when I listened to it for the first time, and when I kept listening to it afterwards, that it wasn't gonna work because it's like so textual, and a lot of like the guys had to sing and be spot on while having a rave EDM song, and like it's an amazing studio cut, and I will still listen to it. It's on my playlist, and it's been on repeat on my playlist, and it's been in my head the entire week ever since I reacted to it. But it just didn't completely work on the stage, and I so much enjoyed your reaction to it. Yeah,
Did I do a
it was
reaction
really
to
fun.
it?
I mean, no, like what you put on Twitter when you.
Oh, on Twitter, that's right.
Yeah.
I did do a reaction. Actually, I remember. Did I? Yeah, I did a reaction video to all the songs. So I do remember the studio. I just completely forgot about it because I didn't like it then. And yeah, then live, I was just like, because I think I tweeted something to the effect of, when I said I want bangers, I want bop, I want fun songs. This is not what I meant. It's just, no, I was just like, I'm sorry. I'm like, and then I made that comment, and people were like, "You're wrong. This is awesome." And one person said, "That's going to win." And then 2 seconds later, it was like it didn't qualify, and I was like, "Well." So yeah, I got a lot of pushback there, and I felt a little bit bad. But it comes down to taste. Yeah, I mean, I didn't like the studio version. I don't. It's just noise to me. So I don't get it. But I did say, to be fair, just because I don't like it, I'm thrilled that they put something like that in a national final.
Yeah.
Give us diversity, and people gravitate towards it or they don't. And as you said, a lot of people liked it, and it'll end up on a lot of people's playlists, like Weird Roy. So it is just how it goes. So that's great. No, but I'm genuine, and I'm picking on you right now. But I mean, Jen, I think that's what they should do. It doesn't always work, but this is great exposure for the artists as well.
Oh, 100%. Like it came on my timeline on YouTube. They were very happy that they got 500 subscribers on YouTube. And I was like, oh, that's very cute, kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I did not expect this in Denmark either. Like usually they have so many like middling safe songs in the selection. And then all of a sudden it was like this rave song. I was like, whoa, what is happening? And
yeah,
I loved it. Yeah, but it didn't work on the stage. Like, I'm going to be honest with that. It didn't work.
Song wasn't for me, but I will tell Denmark, keep doing what you're doing with like picking more out of the box songs like that. That is great. And I'm glad they're picking a lot of Danish songs as well. Keep doing that. So even though you still get a lot of pushback by the fans, and I think some of it is understandable because there is still not enough variety, but I think in terms of like this particular effort, get us more other options as well. So round of applause for that. Thank you, by the way, Lasse, for your super chat. Let me read that real quick. For those that don't speak Danish, Reddy seems so passionate. I'm happy for the girls. And that I didn't see. Did you watch it live, by the way?
Yeah.
Did it cut out for you as well at the very end?
Yeah, because... but that was the thing. Like the show was Dans Melodi Grand Prix was scheduled to be not geo-blocked for anyone. So people could just watch it, but they ran over time. So at that time,
it was geo-blocked.
Yeah, no, that like a random detective show was gonna appear. So that one is of course geo-blocked. So yeah, they just ran over time, and then we couldn't see the final results. So I was on Twitter like, "Oh, what were the results? Like, what happened?"
And you wait for the 2-hour show just to get the results or whatever.
Yeah.
And the winner is click.
Yeah.
But at least we all went through that together. But no, I agree. I mean, I could never be not happy for an artist, even if I didn't like the song. Just because, like, yeah, it's not my kind of song. So whoop-de-doo. That's life. So some people get very passionate about it, and I get it, but don't. It's fun. Jelly says Denmark doesn't seem to be popular in the Eurovision fandom, which I don't understand. I think it's really cool rock song. It reminds me a bit of Cressip, a Dutch band. Do you know Cressip or Cressip?
Yeah, they're a bit of an older band, I think. Like they made some popular music like more than 10 years ago. Like I remember me being a very small child and listening to that like sort of music. So maybe I haven't heard any of their music in a long time. So I don't know how to compare that right now. But it's definitely cool to have like a girl band, kind of punk band. Yeah, I love it.
So yeah, final word is leave Denmark alone. I think they made a good choice. I know it's always Denmark gets a lot of heat, it seems, and then they do really well and or at least decent. And I expect a similar outcome here as well. Man, but that's not it even. You think we had all the shows covered? We got another one, and that is Romania. And it is over. There's always some drama in a Romanian national final. You cannot have one without it, I guess. But Selecția Națională 22 became one of the more, most, but certainly an infamous national final scandal after scandal. But now we do have a winner, and that is what matters. Just real quick, selection started with 46 songs. 46th, and all the way back in December, and then dropped it down to 20 in February, and then down to 10 after a televised semifinal. And the 10 songs now remain performed last night in the national final. And then the votes came in, and despite all trouble with this year's selection, apparently, they had a vote. They had a lot of points come out, like the what's his name again? WRS won the jury vote, not the televote, but the televote was a little different because it was only basically the televote represented one set of jury votes. I think it's basically just 1/6 of the total outcome. So
yeah, and then still it was weird.
yes, so and that still it was weird, like with the way the points were distributed. But ultimately, we're going to talk about in a moment. WRS has won, and can you pronounce the name of the song?
Yamame.
Yeah, mame, because I pronounced it last time, and they said I said it what I said sounded dirty, so I didn't want to say the word again. So that is the winning song, and he is going to go to Eurovision. And as we all know, Romania hasn't had the best track record at Eurovision as of late, at least. The last time they qualified was in 2017 with Yodel It, and then the last 3 participations, they just didn't manage to qualify. Until then, they always qualified, and now they never qualified. It's such a dramatic shift here. So maybe 2022 will bring a change. Well, that is why we're here to talk about it. Roy, let's hear it from you. What are your thoughts on the Romanian entry?
It's okay. I'm not personally super enthusiastic about it because it's also not my kind of music. So it's always kind of a bit more difficult to judge those kind of songs. And also the overall sound quality in the arena wasn't perhaps as good as, for example, with Norway, Sweden, those high quality, way more bigger budget productions. So it was a tad difficult to judge as well. So I also need some time with this one with the Studio Cup. I think this is definitely the right decision. Um, it is a little bit like in the middle for me, and I wish it excited me a bit more. Like you really needed to be more out there with the dance stuff that they did on the stage. I don't fully know what type of dance it is because I'm not that familiar with dances. And the drop could have been a bit more pronounced, and even like his singing could have been a bit more out there, perhaps. But maybe those things can be tweaked, and maybe they can have a little bit of a revamp. Who knows? The bass is quite okay, and they could like do a decent staging with it, and perhaps do a qualification. I don't know. It remains to be seen what the competition is really and what they do with it, of course.
Yes. So the genre in itself is not necessarily my favorite genre. That's just my honest disclaimer. At the same time, I can absolutely see this one being very, very liked by a lot of televoters. I'm mostly worried about the juries here more than anything, even though it won the jury vote in Romania, but that hardly ever translates to international jury support. That was my thing. To me, the song itself, I did my reaction video as well last night, is the version to me felt a little empty, almost like a demo version. It may have been the sound quality as well, but I feel as the especially in the instrumental part, was missing a little. But I will say it made up with his excitement, because he was certainly excited to be there. So yes, even though it's may not be my kind of music, I will not discount Romania's chances here, because we often see these songs that just feel like, seems like an average summer hit, and then they do really well at Eurovision, because there is a market out for that. Now, the song itself won the jury vote overall, but it did not win the televote. That was won by Dora. Did you listen to that song, Roy? The televote winner?
Dora? Wait.
That's Dora Gaetanovici.
Yeah, okay. I did listen to that song because it was a symphonic metal song, kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I really love this type of music because I'm a bit of a metalhead, I guess. But I am oddly enough very happy that they didn't win, because I think that they can do better. Like they can come back with a way better song. I thought the chorus wasn't really outstanding enough. And if they just go back and write a song for next year and perhaps do even better with that one, I would have much rather have that than right now go with this song that's okay, but could be better, and then people will not vote for it because it's just okay. Um, so I get that it won the televote, and I would have personally voted for it as well. Like, it was my favorite, but I'm quite happy that it didn't go to Eurovision just yet, because they can do better. They just need to come back with a better song, because they can do it. I'm pretty sure of it.
Interesting. Yes. So I didn't listen to any of the other songs, so I can only base my opinion on what I know on this one, the winning song. And in terms of drama with this, because there was a lot of like in the beginning, all the songs that were very popular with the fans and the masses were all eliminated early. So when they were bringing it down to the last 10 songs, people were like, this is what you decided to go with. So that was definitely one of the big issues that a lot of people had. I didn't listen to any of the songs. Did you listen to any of the other songs, Roy, that were out there that you thought this should have gone through, or you're also a little bit more clueless on the selection?
I listened to a recap of the final, but there wasn't really that much that really stood out to me. So I think this was definitely the best pick if we like go of my analysis of the metal band now, that they shouldn't go just yet. So yeah, besides that, it was really just the best option, I think.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, I didn't listen to other songs, but what I'm hearing people saying this was the best option. Now, I find one thing that just I almost put Romania in the same bucket as I did Germany earlier. It's like it seems that people in charge just don't care enough to fix what's broken right now. And one of the things is obviously the song selection. We can talk about that all night long. The elimination, what was chosen, but also the actual televote being like, why
Yeah.
bother having a televote if it's virtually irrelevant, right? I mean, you can make a case like, well, maybe if it's super close between the top two, like the top two of the juries are separated by 1 point kind of thing, then maybe this could potentially have an impact. But for the most part, the televote is relevant. It's just a way to make money, I guess. Do you think this needs to change?
Yeah, definitely. I am all for having a selection with 50% televote and 50% jury vote. Like, I think that France, the way that they did it was really well done. I also think how Portugal usually does it is also really well done, or Czech Republic even. Like, they have a jury vote, and then they translate those to 12, 8, 10, wait, 12, 10, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then the televote will be added to that as well. And then, you have a true 50-50 of the points. And I think that is just a really fair system, because it's also how it's going to be at Eurovision, and it's also what the people in your country want. Because what we said with Serbia, a lot of the people are behind the song, and that is sometimes even more important than doing well at Eurovision. You just want to be behind your song, and right now that voice get kind of taken away from the Romanian public, and it's really kind of sad to see.
It is. It's very upsetting to me as well. But I feel like we've seen that movie before. 2019 is a great example. So I don't know what to say. But any questions about Romania, please leave them in the chat at ESC United, and then we'll answer them. Again, kind of what I asked about some of the other songs. As of right now, gun to your head kind of situation. Do you think Romania has a shot of qualifying? Is it a sure qualifier? They're in the second semifinal, second half. What is your gut telling you right now? Again, I'm not going to hold you to it. It's really just like just a gut feeling for now.
For me personally, I would say no, but that's just because it's not my type of music. But I can definitely see some people liking it, and it can definitely stand out. And as of right now, I feel like the second semifinal is maybe a tad bit weaker than the first one. So yeah, perhaps it would definitely be like a borderline one, and definitely not a sure qualifier for me at all.
Mm-hmm. We don't know all of the songs yet. Of course, Belgium and Sweden the second half. We don't know yet what they're going to send. The rest we do know. The one advantage that Romania has is there are a good amount of ballads in there, or slower songs.
Mm-hmm.
Certainly not as upbeat. Poland. They're not super slow per se either, but certainly this is probably the most upbeat song, I would say. So that could certainly work in its favor. I'm at this point, if I had to guess, I'm more leaning towards no, unfortunately, but this is also not a certain certainty for me either. I did recommend. There, what remains got crazy in my reaction video. I said like the version to me just feels too demo-y to me. Maybe they have time for a revamp. People were really upset when I suggested that. I'm like, I'm just thinking if you add a little bit more of a full sound, I think it would be pop more. That was just my suggestion, but I was overruled. I was ratioed apparently on that one. So it was just a well-intentioned advice, but don't take it. I don't care. Now, that is definitely. What do you think about this year's entry compared to last year? So Roxanne, of course, didn't qualify. What do you think how do you feel? Is this an improvement or they had a better option last year?
Well, I think it definitely, compared to the live performance, I think this is definitely an improvement because the thing is with last year's song, it was really good, but it was really textual and Roxanne just really struggled to perform it. And now with Yamame, you just know that WRS is going to be able to perform it because he already did.
Yeah.
And like on that level, I would say I would prefer that or this year's song. But if I go for my own taste and what song would I put on my Spotify playlist or just listen to casually, I would probably go with Roxanne's song. But yeah, that's not what ultimately matters. You need to have a good live performance. So I guess this year is a bit better.
Yeah, I mean, to me, I think on paper, Roxanne's song was probably more slick and more professional.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't my kind of song. Like I liked it enough, but I didn't click with it emotionally enough for me to get into it. This year, yes, even though it feels a little bit less slick, it's a little bit more a fun factor. I love Roxanne's first effort the most, actually, if you go back. Even the humans I actually quite liked. Yeah, it's if I had to pick one, I think quality-wise, I still think Roxanne's song is better, but you were correct saying that I think I keep forgetting his name, WRS, he is probably going to do better live. And that is very, very important as well. One good question by Jose. Jose saying, when it comes to juries for national selections, do you prefer international or local? I will answer this one first this time. And this is coming from someone who's a big proponent of juries at Eurovision. I'd rather not have any juries actually in national finals because the purpose of juries at Eurovision are different. You know, they serve a purpose about certain friendly, neighborly voting, even though there are flaws as well within the juries now. It was better for a few years ago. We can talk about it for longer, but the idea behind juries is to kind of upbalance some of that. I don't necessarily think that we need that in national finals. I prefer just a straightforward televote. I think people would be way more excited that way and would cause less drama, and it would be the people's choice. And then if it flops at Eurovision, so be it. So I personally would have no juries, but if you want to have juries, then you may want to go with international juries because then they have maybe a better idea of what would work better at Eurovision, because that's ultimately, I think, what juries are meant for in national finals. So if you want to have a jury, go with internationals. That would be my personal approach. How about you, Roy?
Yeah, I think I definitely agree with the international jury one, and then like also pick it from all over Europe and like change it every year, a bit like how Melfest does it basically. I think that works because you get a bit of a grasp of what the overall areas in Europe would feel about the song, like how Southern Europe will feel about the song, how Scandinavia will feel about, how the Baltics will feel about it. You can get a bit more of an idea of that. But I agree with you that it should really be a song that you want to see your country be represented by. And in that regard, maybe a bit of a mix of the both would be better. Like have, I don't know, a panel of 6 national juries and 6 international ones, and then also televote with it. Like,
yeah. Or what's the term called that they have in Italy where they have like the demoscopic jury, like, you know, we have like a group of people vote, you know, that are actually people, the people represent the folks. So that something like that I could see.
Yeah. But then have it like not with how Benidorm Fest was this year, where you have like 50% jury, then 25. Then it should all be 33.
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I completely agree with that as well. So gun to your head right now again, Roy. 5 songs: Germany, France, Serbia, Denmark, Romania. Which was your favorite? Not of the night, because Germany was the night before, but out of this week's.
For me, easily Denmark. I really like that song a lot, and then easily second place for France.
Yeah, for me it is France. I mean, that's just clear. There's a lot of ones I appreciate, but I think France Me was the one I was like, what? So that would be my choice. So there is more, of course, even though these are the some we had some semifinal results. One of them is Sweden, Melody Festival, and we had what they refer to now as 4 heats. And then from each heat, 2 songs went directly to the finals, and then 2 went to the semifinals, which took place last night. We had 8 songs perform, and then in 2 groups, so groups of 4, and then 2 songs from each group would then move on to the grand final. In the first group, we had Tanis Sekelius with My Way, Alvaro Estrella with Suave, Dane Strahed with Hala Balu, and Anna Bergendahl with Higher Power. Ultimately, Tone and Anna managed to end up in the top 2, therefore they're in the finals. And then in the second semi, we had Theos with Som du Vil, Lisa Miskovsky with Best to Come, Lilla's Sister, Till Our Days Are Over, and Cassiopeia, I Can't Get Enough. And after the votes were in, it was number 1 and number 4, Theos and Cassiopeia, making it to the grand final. And now we have the lineup, the 12 songs. Let's talk about those 2 songs. Semi-final one first. Roy, do you agree with the outcome? Who should have gone through? You have a strong opinion?
I didn't really care for this semi-final. I think I was mostly rooting for Tone to go through. I think that song was just the catchiest, and I wasn't really fan of Halabaloo. Like I get that it went through as well, but it's just a bit too silly, a bit too old. It wouldn't win anyways. I don't really care for Alvaro Estrella's songs because it's always the same, and I don't really click with that type of music either. I do think it was a bit better than his previous 2 efforts though. And Anna Bergendahl, I also really don't click with her kind of music, and I got quite some hate on that, or not hate, like some people saying, "Oh, I love her so much. Why do you hate it?" And I did some research into that.
Okay.
Apparently, it's with her her type of singing that doesn't click with me. Because, for example, also in Norway, Deaf of Me didn't click with me at all, and it's like what they call either indie voice or cursive singing, and what the singers do is that they like lengthen the vowels in each word so that you as a listener really have to put in the effort to understand what they're singing. So sometimes like love will be like liav, something like that.
Liar.
Yeah, no, but it's a bit exaggerated, but it's just that it feels a bit insincere to me. So didn't really care for those 3, and I'm happy that Tone made it through. Yeah, I could have they were both super predictable in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm glad that Tony and Anna. This would have been my 2 choices as well. Alvaro Suave. Alvaro always sings the same song every year. It seems like
Yeah.
it. So it's just not my kind of sound. And it's so I assumed actually I thought he may go through because he always manages to get through for this second chance round or semifinal. Now, excuse me, I have an opinion on that. But so I was glad that Tony and Anna made it through those. But definitely the Tony song again. It's not that the most revolutionary and kind of like you've heard it before, but it is so damn catchy. Oh my god, It is so catchy. And my way. She's not going to win, but I'm glad it made it to the finals. And Anna Bergendahl is it's a very Anna Bergendahl-ish kind of sound. The song. So if you're not into it, I can totally see why you're not clicking with this one either. I wouldn't call it a best effort, but I'm still glad it gone through. So I think Sweden got this one right. What about the second semifinal with Theos and Cassiopeia going through? And Lilla's Sister and Lisa out. Right? Wrong?
Yeah, spot on, really. If it were up to me, like there were 3 of these ones to go through. Yeah, I really like Lilla's Sister, but also it's like I don't know. It's a very toned down rock song that will only work in Melfest because Melfest doesn't like full in your face rock songs. So I totally get that it didn't go through. Theos, I mean, it seemed like he's been performing in Melody Festival for forever, basically. He really performed it very well, and it's just a slick song that you hear kind of every year in Melfest as well, but that always will do quite well. And he performed it really good. And I mean, Cassiopeia was easily my favorite song of this semifinal. It's really catchy, and I listen to it quite a lot, and that says a lot for Melody Festival because I usually don't listen to that many of the songs because it's not my type of selection really. But yeah, I'm really happy that she went through because that's definitely the one out of all the songs I've heard so far that's my favorite so far.
I was really nervous because like, oh no, she's the last one being announced, of course. And I'm like, because I thought that Lisa Miskowski is going to be the second one because she should have gone through in her. I still think that SVT messed up the votes. They will never admit to it, and that she would have gone through over Faith. But there's nothing I can do about it. So I assume that she's a clear qualifier. And then when Theos was announced first, I was like, oh. So I was really nervous. I didn't think Theos would go through. I thought, as I said, it's like this very like expected comfortable Melody Fest sound in Swedish, right? That we've heard it before. It seems like this typical like, okay, can potentially make the second chance round, but then gets kicked out. I was surprised to see it go through. Actually, I don't think it's going to go far in the finals, but hey, people clicked with it. I did not really, but Cassiopeia tonight by far my winner. And when you look at the chart performances so far of these songs, it's definitely the one that should have gone through. It's doing quite well in the Swedish chart, and it has a little bit more of a international feel to it. It has almost like a Katy Perry feel to it. She sounded good. The staging was very colorful out there, and it was just the most memorable thing. So I'm thrilled it's gotten through. If it were up to me, I would have picked Lisa and Kasi to go through. Lila Sister I liked as well, but you already pointed out what was, why it's just a washed down version. I thought their last year effort was way better. I wanted them to see the final last year. This song was not quite as powerful. Sabrina's asking, do you guys know if there was a song that was in the second chance round and won in the end? Roy, do you know the answer?
I think that was the case, but I cannot tell you which one it was. Wasn't it also Anna Bergendahl who did that?
No.
Oh, okay.
2013 was the first and only time that the second chance round winner, Robin, It's All of You. I'm like,
oh, wonderful.
Song. Yeah, that was the song that actually went for the second chance round and then ended up winning. If they would have used today's point system, I don't think it would have won. But at that point it did. So yeah, that was the first and only time that they won. So then in the good old days, meaning 21 and before, it was still called Andra Chansen. How do you feel about this whole, we're gonna now call them Heat, and these are the semifinals? I'm like, I mean, I'm gonna say, I was like, it's cute you're trying to change that. It's very cute. But come on, it's Andra Chansen. It's a second chance. It's like, you just don't want to call it the leftovers. But it is basically because they are just a second chance round. They couldn't get enough votes in the first place. So the odds of them doing well in the actual finals are very slim. I mean, some of them do actually quite well, but winning is a tough road. But just don't change the name.
Yeah, it makes no sense. Like Andra Chansen, I think, is legit the most catchy name out of anything in national finals from anything, basically. Like it's so catchy. Andra Chansen, you're like, yeah, perfect. And if you want to call it semi-final, then you should have the heats. Like you can sure have the 4 heats, then have those 4 or maybe then 3 or something go to the semi-finals together, like all of them in the semi-finals.
I know.
Then it would make sense to call it semi-finals. Now it's just the leftovers in a semi-finals. Where are the ones that already went to the final? It is so. I don't get it. Just keep Andra Chansen. Like the new system, I get that you want to change it because, you don't want to have the Loreen issue again. And
they're trying to get away from the dual thing, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
The anti-vote. Yeah. If they want the anti-vote, they'd have all 8 songs perform in one group. I don't know why they always have to say
that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just weird. They do it. I think it has to do with this whole thing. We don't call it understand because a second chance is someone or sounds like condescending. We'll give you a second chance because you need it. That kind of thing. So I think that is what it is. So I still call it Andra Chansen. I don't care.
Same.
I don't care. It's a cool name.
Yeah, it's really cool. And like we all know that if you have been following Melody Festival, you know that they came through the semifinals. So nothing really changed. Like just only the name. And
exactly. They changed Andra Chansen setups in several occasions. They had group votes before, so it's not like a brand new concept. It's just slightly different. Now, talking about the final, who is your favorite, Roy?
I honestly cannot tell you yet because I have planned to record a video on the 8th that went.
Oh, darn! Because I was going to do the same thing, so neither of us can tell you. And this is
so stay tuned for both of our channels to find out about that.
Yeah, so yeah, that's fine. Yeah, my video I try to record it today. We'll see how it goes. Do you guys know if there? Oh, that was the second chance round. You already asked that question. Okay, so yes, Sweden will pick their song next week, next Saturday. 12 songs still in the running. And yeah, look out for our videos to go in more detail about that. So the other not national final, semi-final we had was Portugal, Festival de Canção. 10 songs battled it out, and 5 of them went through. We don't know how the juries and televoters picked, who went where and what and why, but we know those 5 songs ended up on top. And I will butcher those names, so I'm not going to read them all, but look them up online. Roy, do you agree with the results in Portugal?
I think both of us.
That was the creepiest sound I've ever heard in my life.
Oh, that's what my parents say every single time.
Oh, this was creepy. It seemed like one of those nightmare. Great. Please don't do that again.
Yeah, I think I watched your video and we had the same number 1 and it didn't make it. Is that correct?
Oh, really? Oh, okay. Fado
Yeah.
Bika Bicha.
Yeah. Oh, that was such a good song. Like I genuinely listened to that. Like after the first time, I already liked it, and then I listened to it more, and I was like, yeah, this could really win Festival da Canção. Well, how wrong I was. It didn't even make it to the final. I don't understand how, but I mean, I get the other ones, like the 5 that went through. Like I would have perhaps like changed Ginger Ale for Fado Bicha.
Mm-hmm.
But the rest, I get that they went through. But Fado Bicha was so good. Like the performance was really good as well. Like I don't understand why it didn't go through, but I guess that's what happens sometimes.
It was my clear number 1 as well, by a landslide. So I was really bummed out. I'm thinking, I don't know, because Festival de Canção, it's gotten better, but it's still a little bit more of an uptight, structured thing where you don't have the wild performance. Maybe this was too out there, too flamboyant, too much in your face. I still think that it was in the top 5 of the televoters. I have a feeling that the juries were just like, too much. I could be wrong, but that is just my hunch here. I really, really liked it. And I haven't listened to the Semi 2 songs yet, so I don't know if there's something else out there. I'm going to do that video next as well. So that was certainly my number 1. The rest of the songs that qualified, actually, they were all my 2nd to 6th place. So I approve of that at least. But boy, am I disappointed that Fado Bica is out. Now out of those that went through the 5, Roy, which one was do you have a favorite out of those 5?
Initially going into it, I think it was Saudade Saudade from Maro. But I don't know, it didn't really click with me live. Yeah, my favorites are in Semi 2, just as simple as that, really. Yeah, I don't know. I thought it was a bit, maybe, I like the FF one, I think. It's like a super long title as well. I think
Yes.
he performed it very well, and it was a good performance. So maybe that like overtook Saudade Saudade for me. But yeah, overall, just for me, Semi 2 is just more songs that I like in that. So hoping for that.
Yeah, that was definitely my number 2 as well. And after the performance, yeah, he performed that song really well. So I have a feeling he actually won the night. In my estimation right now, of course, we won't find out until later. But yeah, this definitely was probably the one that stands out to me. So my gut feeling tells me though that Festival de Cal's winner is in Semi 2, and I haven't even listened to the songs yet. It's just a gut feeling. We shall see. We shall see. So we also had a semifinal in Iceland. We finally have the national final back song, Va Keppnin. Remember, Will Ferrell won it as well a few years ago. But only because everybody else died.
Yeah.
So on a boat. So, we had 5 acts perform. 2 of them were voted through and then third one became the wild card. And Stefan Oli through Siga, Beta, and Elena through, and Amarosis is the wild card. Now, disclaimer, I have not listened to the songs yet. I'm so far behind, so I'll try to do a video.
Because that was last week.
Huh?
The ones that you just read out were last week.
Oh, they were last week's?
Yeah.
I thought this was it was Semi 2. Why didn't you interrupt me sooner?
Because you were just going on and you were doing really well.
Clearly, I wasn't doing well considering I gave you last week's result.
What did change? Like last week, we had Siga Beta and Aileen going through, and Stefan Oli. We do know that a wild card now also came from semifinal one, and that was Amarosis, which is something we didn't know last week. This week, though, we had semifinal two, and we had Katla with Padanaf and Reykjavíkur Detur with Tukum Afstat. Yes, good luck pronouncing
Bless you.
those in your reaction video. But yeah, two from semifinal two went through, and I think they were quite deserved. I know you didn't watch it, but yeah, they all made sense to me, really.
Yeah, I didn't listen to them, so I'll get to do now the reaction video, and this time I'm going to pick the right songs. Yeah, I'm so out of the loop with Iceland, unfortunately, but I promise I'll. I promise I'll do my best.
Yeah.
How about that? So now we just have a few more minutes just to do open Q&A because we have one more. Can we call it a Super Saturday? Because next week will be a little less crazy as some of the other weeks. So who do we have? We have Iceland's results. We have Sweden, and we have Portugal, right?
Yeah, I think that's basically it.
Yeah, so it's going to be a little bit more manageable, but yeah, mini Super Saturday.
Yeah, just because it's the last one, we can just still call it Super Saturday.
Okay, let's do it because I'm not ready to let go. So any questions at ESC United in the chat? Sean, how you doing, Sean? Matt, I'll be lurking, but in 10 minutes, the single biggest match of the year in Italian top league soccer will be live on Paramount, and I'll be watching that. Have fun. I don't, living in the US, nobody watches soccer here unless it's at World Cup. So I lost kind of like my interest in soccer, but good luck to your favorites. Can you talk a bit about the internal selections this week?
Yeah.
Okay, we did reaction videos. I think Roy did them as well on his channel.
Yeah. The Vlado one is still to come because I had a few issues with my editing.
Which one?
The Montenegro one.
Montenegro.
I made the video for it, but my editing program just crashed a couple of final 2 days. So yeah, those have not been out yet, but they'll come in the next 2 or 3 days probably.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect.
But I've listened to it.
How about the Netherlands? You are our resident Dutchie here. How do you like the song in Dutch? And you approve?
This is the first time that I am super duper proud of our song, because we finally have our ugly ass language sound super beautiful, and I am really proud of that. Like, I don't care if we're gonna flop, if we're gonna come 20th, if we're gonna come last in the semifinal, which I don't think will happen, but just to have our ugly language sound beautiful, which this does, because it sounds super soft, and usually you're like, oh, with the hard G sounds and the K sounds, and it's such a harsh language, and it sounds so soft and so beautiful, and I'm so happy with that. And I'm so proud.
That is so nice. It's you're very much. That's exactly what it should be. And I think, is that the sentiment a lot of people feel in the Netherlands right now? They're all very happy with that song, like proud of it, or is it a lot of criticism? What is the attitude right now? What have you observed?
I think that the Netherlands is usually never behind our song. Like, whenever the artist gets selected, it's like, oh, who's this? We never heard of him. Same with Duncan Lawrence, which we won with, but like everybody was like, oh, we don't want him because we don't know him. And every time the song comes out, it's like, oh, it's not good enough. We're gonna flop with it, and people are just really afraid that the Dutch language will not come across for Europe. Like, it's a Eurovision competition, so we shouldn't sing in Dutch because it's not English, so people won't understand what we're saying. And yeah, they're wrong. Like, emotion translates through all languages, and that doesn't have anything to do with whatever language you're singing in. Like, last year, France translated perfectly the emotions, and a lot of the other songs that did well, like Switzerland, for example, that was also not in English, but it also translated super well. So it's such a bad argument, but Dutch
it's the same argument. And like, again, should I mention the 4 songs that finished in the top 5 last year that were not in English? I haven't said that in at least 10 minutes. Yeah, so no, that's what I'm saying. Yeah, people are always scared, and I am so thrilled that you like it, because when I listened to it, I did my reaction video, I actually like, oh, I really liked it. I like it. Mm-hmm. And now after listening again, like, I really like it. It feels like a relevant, modern song in Dutch. Do you know what I mean? Like, yes, people would probably love this even more if it was in English, because, oh, it's English, I can understand. But I think it's just a really good song, and she sounds good, and it seems like she means the message. in the song, right? Like she connects with it, and it comes across to a not someone who doesn't speak Dutch. I understand like every random word I understand because I speak German, right? I'm like, oh, I got that. But other than that, you know, I don't understand anything. But that's the beauty of the song. So I think Netherlands once again a great choice. And are you concerned about qualification, or you feel like, or is it just more like self-preservation that you're trying to be pessimistic?
I think that's mostly what Dutchies are. I'm not necessarily concerned with qualification if it is staged correctly, because she performed a song, I think either last night or the night before, on one of our big talk shows, and she sounded really good live. So yeah, that's just a really good thing. And if they stage it well, I think we should be good for qualification. Of course, I'll knock on wood and not be like super like, oh yeah, we're gonna qualify easily, but I think we will be able to.
Yeah. And the other song that was chosen was Montenegro, Vladana, Breathe. And I don't think you've uploaded your video yet, so I don't make you comment on this one yet. I want to spoil the fun. I put up my video. I do like it, and I listened to it again. It's one of the songs that are not necessarily grabbing you immediately, but the more I listen to it again, and it's great. And I think with a great staging, Montenegro actually could do quite well with this one. I find it takes a little bit to take off, in my view, and I wish they would maybe speed up a little bit. But once it's there, it's good, and that's how I feel about it. So I think that was really, really good. So yeah. Any other questions real quick? Any open Q&A at ESC United? Will there be a reaction video of Fullen on the ESC United channel and on Roy's channel? So I recorded mine already. I just haven't put it up yet because I had to put up Romania, and I didn't have time. And then I had to do the ranking video, and then I have to do this live stream. So I'll try to work on that, get that up today. Are you going to do one, Roy?
What my system will be is I already reacted to it as part of the national selection. So I will wait until all of the songs are out. And then after all of them are out, I'm going to separately react to the songs that won their semifinals. And I'll be a bit late on those, but you know, it's just super busy. Like I've literally been uploading every single day, just one full national final reaction, and it's quite a lot of work to just make these videos,
editing, uploading it, putting the
and then having copyright issues, and it's a lot of work and a lot of stress. Like, don't underestimate that. So it will come, but not just now.
It's you know, when you do any sort of Eurovision content in this day and age on YouTube, it's a passion, because it's a lot of work, and it's not very rewarding, at least in terms of, you know, like it's rewarding for yourself kind of thing, you know, like it's fun to do, but it is quite exhausting. Have you listened to the revamp of the Albanian song? Holly, yes, and I have recorded the video as well. It's in the pipeline. Just again, I haven't gotten to it yet to upload it. But you, Roy, I think your answer applies to Albania as well, right?
Yeah, no, I listened to that one immediately, because I always do that with the revamp, because it's just a totally new song usually. And I mean, it was a bit English in there now, and like the sounds in the drop were a bit different. I also uploaded that video today, actually. I was going to be on Friday, but then issues with editing.
Yes.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts about Sam Ryder being rumored as the UK artist with the song Spaceman? I think he has 12 million followers on TikTok, 700,000 on YouTube, and 5 million on Instagram. And I'm embarrassed to respond that I don't know who he is. What do you think about Sam Ryder?
Oh, I have no clue either. And I mean,
okay, so it's not me being old. Let me just
numbers
see here.
Don't matter at Eurovision. Like,
exactly.
If you're Flo Rida, like we saw that last year, or some unknown from, I don't know, Ukraine, go away, wasn't very known in Europe. Like, it doesn't matter what name you have.
I just put it into Wikipedia, and it says Sam Ryder is a professional golfer who plays in the PGA Tour. So I don't think that's him. Is there another Sam for this article? There's another Sam Ryder. He is an English businessman who died in 1936. I don't think that's him either. Nope, I don't know him. I don't even.
The thing is with the UK is that there's always, just right before the song gets released, there's so much rumors and so many artists being rumored to be the representative. And just be patient. Just wait until it's been announced officially, and then listen to the song, and we'll get to it then.
Which of the songs yet to come are you most looking forward to? Well, let's take a look at the ones that are still outstanding. We don't know Switzerland yet, right? We don't know Armenia. We don't have the song for Austria yet. Apparently, there is a snippet out there. I have not listened to it yet, so that's completely open to me as well. We don't have the Greek song. I know that it leaked a demo version at some point. Again, I have not listened to it. Iceland, we don't know. We know the songs, I guess, but not the winner. Portugal, same thing. Azerbaijan, we still need the song. And Cyprus. And Georgia. And Belgium. UK, and then Sweden. Okay, Roy. Oh, is it still Georgia? Always Georgia?
Have you seen the promo videos?
No. I'm trying to deliberately staying away from everything.
Yeah, okay, that makes sense. I tried to do that as well. Like, for example, I didn't listen to the Austria snippet either. They are such an intriguing group. Like, we don't know what we're gonna expect. Like, they make all sorts of music, and I have no idea what to expect. And I'm so here for it, because with Georgia, you never know what to expect, and that's why I love Georgia so much in Eurovision, because they just send whatever they feel like sending, and they don't care if they do well, they don't care if they do badly. They'll send something different and unique, and I'm super duper stoked to hear what it is going to be like this year. So I'm always going to be hyped for Georgia. It's just going to be a thing.
And I'm going to give a boring answer. Same. Because I what he said, exactly the same thing. And sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, right? For certain people. Yeah. It often doesn't work for Eurovision success, but as he said, they just like, we're just going to send something that is out there, and it may work or it may not. So, and that's what I love about it. And whatever it is, it's going to be interesting. Of course, I'm excited about every song because, I love Eurovision. But I'm definitely in my radar. I'm paying attention to little Georgia there as well. Tough question. Do you think Ukraine will win Eurovision this year due to the war ongoing? So this is always a very tough question. And of course, we know nobody wants to talk about the big elephant in the room, but we live in the real world. And we don't even, people talking about they don't even know what's going to happen with Ukraine at Eurovision. Are they going to be there? Are they going to just use a video? Are they going to withdraw? It's very difficult for me to even really say anything about it, just because it is such a sensitive and upsetting topic that I don't know what's going to happen. So I'd rather not make any predictions yet, because it's just sucks. I don't know what else to say. Does that sound fair, Roy?
Yeah, I mean, without the war, I think it would have already gotten a good shot at winning Eurovision.
Yeah.
It's just a bummer that this is happening. And I think it would be wonderful if they can go, because they can show their culture, they can show who they are as a country, they can show their pride. And I think a lot of people in Ukraine could also be really wanting that right now, to see their act being on that European stage and just performing an amazing performance. I think that could make a lot of people proud and maybe help them go through these times. But it's a very tough situation, and we don't know what's going to happen. And
we don't know what's going to be like in 2 months from now. So let alone next week, like next week, like it is scary. It is upsetting, and it is just, it's hard. But yeah, I agree with your comment that I think this song was immensely popular with me as well.
Yeah.
Even without not even taking to the war into consideration, I think the song would have been high up in the betting odds anyways. Just Ukraine usually is high up to begin with. Yeah. And this song just has was very popular. So maybe it wouldn't have been first, but it would have been probably high up there in the top 3, I would think, regardless. Definitely. So yeah, I do think, will there be sympathy vote? I hate even saying that. It sounds so benign. It's just,
I hate saying that too.
Yeah,
I just know that, like, if they win, then in the Netherlands, like those locals that always complain about our songs are gonna say, yeah, they only won because of the war. And I'm not ready for the conversation. Yeah, it just sucks that this is happening and that we're even having this conversation. Like, it just sucks.
Yes, it sucks. So and it's always awkward even to do a video on Ukraine right now, just because you always like, you don't want to just talk about it in the video. You want to just make it entertainment and fun and forget about for a moment. At the same time, it feels almost like, let's have fun and listen to the song like nothing ever happened. It is just a really strange kind of place to be in right now. So and it's like affects everyone in the world, obviously. So it sucks, but that's basically what we're trying to know. And we always not try to talk too much politics, but this is obviously transcends just like your regular, let's not talk about politicians, because this is, a little different here. So any other questions though in the chat at ESC United? Eurofan in regards to Ukraine, will Ukraine be allowed to leave the country to participate? Isn't there a conscription to the army of men for the age? That is correct. And the last update we've had from the band is actually that several of them, if not all of them, actually took arms and joined the war efforts in Ukraine. I don't know exactly the status of them and where they are as of right now. They are not allowed to leave the country, or not supposed to. There's still men leaving, in some ways. And but yeah, as of right now, it's going to be very difficult, especially they would know where they are, So yeah, we don't know what's going to happen in 2 months. So everything, I think, is just up in the air at this point. So it is a little tricky. Will you be covering American Song Contest? Well, as an American, I kind of I'm right by law to do that.
Yeah.
I'm still skeptical. But we did get a list of the artists. Most of them are not known. There are 3 names, though, that we all, or like a lot of us, have heard of: Cisco, Macy Gray, and Michael freaking Bolton. Like Michael Bolton. That made me laugh.
No idea who any of them were, but that makes me even more excited.
Macy Gray, you don't know who Michael Bolton is?
No, I'm sorry.
Don't play. I'm young. That's like, I know the Beatles. I know. Come on. Macy Gray.
Let me listen to a song, but I'm terrible with names in general. Like, I'm so terrible with actors, for example, as well. Like, I'm the worst with those kind of things. So no, I none of those names really rang a bell with me. I know, like, the son of Will Smith is going to be there. I think somebody pointed that out. But I mean, it makes me even more excited for the show, because I thought that there might be some like big name and that would steamroll the competition. But I'm really excited to find out what all these artists are about and what they're going to bring. Like, discover new artists, new music. That's what Eurovision is about. So
yeah, Michael Bolton was like big in the early 90s, I think. Even like now he recently just became like a celebrity reality TV star. He was on Dancing with the Stars and all of these things. So this is his effort to go back. How well known has Eurovision become in the USA recently? Not really, Sal. They're pushing it. They do a lot of advertisement. And now during the Super Bowl, they had all these commercials, but nobody really knows what that means. So they're like, American Song Contest, huh? But having big names attached to it, and for hosting Kelly Clarkson and Snoop Dogg, that certainly helps to make it more legitimate and all of that stuff. So we'll see. It is not like anything that people are talking about. It's not trending in any shape or form. We'll see once it's on next week, I think, how it's going to pan out. But to answer your question, or someone's question, yes, we will, of course, talk about it. Here comes again Chris A. Macy Gray had his biggest hit in 1999. Roy is too young. So what? She is very
I was born in
famous.
98, so yeah.
I wasn't alive when the Pretenders were performing. I still know who they are. I wasn't alive when Elvis died. And I know who he is. Now, granted, Macy Gray is not Elvis.
Names.
Yes, that's true. But Macy Gray, I mean, her song. She sounds like the one who swallowed a frog. I forgot this melody right now of her famous song.
It sounds amazing.
Yeah. She's gonna win. So yes, so that is what we're going to do. Let me see. What is your opinion on this year's entry so far? Do you think the songs we haven't heard yet will impress us? Have we heard the winner yet? Tough question. So, Roy, do you think, you don't even have to give a name for the sake of not spoiling too much for your videos. Do you think we have a winner potential already, or you think the winner is yet to come?
Yes, I do think we have a few songs with winner potential at the moment. I also think there's a few countries that could still deliver a winning potential song.
Yeah.
But currently, I would definitely say we have a few that could win it.
Yeah.
What about you?
What?
What about you?
Oh, what about you?
Yeah.
What was the question?
The
songs. There's a winner song. So my brain just. I was looking at a question and my brain went kaput. So, well, Americans use that word. That's why I use it all the time. So yeah, that's one of the random words that Americans use, kaput. But yeah, I think there are like 2 or 3 songs that I could see win this whole thing. But I do have my eyes out on some of the countries that I could see like they bring the winning song. Switzerland comes to mind, and some others. But yeah, so I think we could still potentially be waiting on the winning song, but there are 2 or 3, and I don't want to say it yet because we're going to do prediction videos, we're going to do ranking videos, we're going to do our expert panel. I'm sorry, expert panel, to make sure that this is all going to happen. So American Song Contest starts on the 26th of March with the final on the 12th of May. And I don't get the format. Can you explain? In short, no. I don't think anyone really knows exactly how it's going to pan out. It's just unlike Eurovision, where we're going to have 2 semis and 1 final, although it wasn't always like that, as you know. They're going to have all these different episodes and groups and see how it's gonna pan out. I feel as there's going to be some winging it even as the thing progresses. So we don't know all the details, but it's going to be multiple stages of voting with countries probably, or not countries, excuse me, states or territories will be eliminated, and then we'll have a final with I don't know how many songs, but I don't think they'll have a final with 26 or like 25 songs because that would be half of the states. I'm sure it's going to be more like a 10-song kind of thing. So we'll have to.
I think it'll be like 20.
You think so?
Yeah, because there's also like territories like Puerto Rico and like some other overseas territories. American Samoa, I think, is in there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're Puerto Rico. They have the Virgin Islands. You know,
and I think what's going to happen
Guam.
is like you have 3 songs or like 3 shows at first, and then 2 shows, and then 1 show. So a bit like how Lithuania is structured, but then with more songs, I guess. So I think 20 is like probably what's.
Do you know Jewel at least, Roy?
No.
Okay, that's fair, because I didn't know her either until I moved to the United States. So that is fair. She's a country singer here in the US. She's representing Alaska, so she's a big name as well. But yeah, I didn't know of her either until I moved here, so you're off the hook. The act for California, the state I live in, is Sweet Taboo. No clue, doesn't even have a Wikipedia entry. And before that, I lived in Florida. That's Ale Zabala. No clue who that is either. Yeah. I'm just scrolling through the list here and see who has like a Wikipedia entry and if the name rings a bell, but that's it. Jewel's the only other one I forgot to mention. But other than that, yeah, all the other ones are at least not known to me.
I hope there's going to be some diversity at least, like in genres.
Yeah, I hope so too. And not that everyone in the South brings country music. You know, that is definitely. So we shall see. We shall see. So, but that's all we have for tonight. So much going on. Thank you for watching, everyone. We'll be back soon. And again, you have more videos to come up the next day, 2 whole week, and then the next Mattitude shortly. And Roy, what's coming up on your channel? And what's the name of your channel again?
My channel is called Roy PM. I'm going to react to Melody Festivalen, of course, the grand final. I've gotten all the national selections. That's all on my channel already. So all the internal selected songs that will be released this week will also be visible on my channel whenever they come out, whenever I have the time, because I also have uni and a lot of other stuff to do. But yeah, Matt also has a busy life, so they will come to you as soon as we can. And
exactly.
Subscribe to our channels.
That's Roy. What does PM stand for?
It's just like my surname is Postuma, so I just kind of took the
PM. I thought it was like PM, like AM, PM, like in the afternoon.
Yeah, let's make it something cool. Let's make up some weird story where it comes from.
Okay, yes. I created my account in the afternoon. I figured that would work. Something like that, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, so we are moving on. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good night, everyone. Thank you for your participation, and laters.